kind of brands or businesses do you think Gorgias would be good for?
Yeah, Gorgias is great for all the brands in direct to consumer, especially those dealing with a lot of support inquiries or personalized products. So things like cosmetics, fashion, apparel. We work with a lot of jewelry brands. So a lot of times people will have various different inquiries for specific products they're looking for. And I think that's a great fit to provide a really good customer experience.
How do you think that Gorgias impacts CX teams? Like if you're sort of thinking about a CX team that exists like pre-Gorgias and then post-Gorgias, like how does Gorgias impact the teams?
Well, I don't even know where to begin. So I actually worked in customer experience, doing customer support a long time ago before I even joined Gorgias. And there's so many small things that we're doing that I think sometimes we get a little bit stuck in the day-to-day and don't realize how impactful it is for brands and customer service agents. So one of the best things that I immediately saw as soon as I started working here was the ability to put Shopify variables inside of your macros. And so you're not going and bouncing between various different tabs to try to copy and paste information. But I think like that's just the start. It's the rules, it's the workflows, it's the tagging of tickets. And especially now with AI agent, when I was doing support, there were so many tickets that would come in that are just like, where is my order, or how do I do this? And very basic things where I'm copying and pasting an answer. And so now with AI agent, it would allow me to focus my time on more beneficial requests to an actual customer. So things that I can do to help provide them a better experience or drive more sales for the brand.
What would you say to brands who are hesitant around AI incentives?
I think you have to lean in. So there's obviously going to be some edge cases with AI where it might say something that you're not expecting, but there's a lot of things that we've done and processes we put in place to make sure there's really good observability. So that way you can continuously train it. And also the chances of those things happening are so slim. It's the same thing as if your agent accidentally sends the wrong macro. It's not the end of the world and you can easily go and correct it. So for the uplift that it provides, I think it's well worth the risk, and the more and more people see it, I think the better it'll be.
Yeah, something Ron said, which I thought was interesting, is he's like, I'm confident that when AI makes a mistake, like it will never make that mistake again because it's learning. Whereas he's like, I don't have that confidence with a human that they would never make a mistake again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I actually look at this like very similarly to how people are perceiving self-driving cars. So in San Francisco, there's a lot of cars where there's not a single person inside, or you'll get in an Uber or a Waymo and there's not a driver. And so if you think of like the chance of a risk there, it's so high, but they're using AI. Like if a car crashes and something happens, it's really, really bad because there could be injuries. Whereas like a support ticket, it's not the end of the world. And so if people are comfortable enough to let these cars drive around on the road, we should be comfortable enough to let it reply to tickets.
Yeah, I mean, just to say for like the gravity of a support ticket,
Yeah. While they're very important, I've never heard of a support ticket that actually hurt somebody.
Yeah. Okay, and there's like no right or wrong answer to this, but it's a question I've been asking everyone today. Is AI making CX more or less human?
I actually think it's making it more human. So I know we just got done with the demo and we can see personalized shopping experiences. One of the examples that came up in the Glamnetic case study that we did is somebody had questions about how quickly they could get their nails for a wedding. And a typical autoresponder will send something like, our working hours are this, we're gonna get back to you, we're gonna connect you with an agent, it can take up to 72 hours. Whereas AI agent acknowledged like, hey, we know you have your special day coming and this is something that we're taking very seriously. We're gonna connect you with an agent as quickly as possible. And when there's certain words like that, AI can automatically detect, okay, this is for a wedding, it needs to be escalated, let's get them a response even faster. And so I think not only does it provide a more personalized experience, it provides an accelerated path to the correct person so you can get a faster reply. So it's also prioritization.
Like, I mean, something I've been asking the brands is like, what was a metric or a measure of success that made you confident in the impact of Gorgias' tools or products? So like, what was something, that you could see where you could kind of point to it and be like, like this tool is successful for our business, that sort of thing.
Got it.
So I mean, we could rephrase the question to be sort of like, what is something you see in the brands that we're serving that like ultimately gives them that aha moment, like Gorgias is really doing something for us.
So in the early days, we used to have to CSM and onboard our own customers that we would sign with Gorgias. And so one of the quick indicators of success when I would meet with people 2, 3, or 4 weeks after launching is what their first response time is and what the resolution time is. And so like the quickest gauge there was have everybody start implementing macros, provide training and provide resources where they could quickly find the macros. And so we would quickly see that people who were in dire needs of hiring more support agents were now in a situation where like, oh, we actually have this under control. We don't need to hire more people. Our response time has dropped. Our resolution time has dropped. And there's also something called, I think it's number of one-touch tickets. And so it's how many tickets are you resolving, or what percentage of tickets are you resolving in one message? And so ideally you are able to provide an answer that's sufficient to resolve their inquiry on just that message versus going back and forth.
I think something we've also been asking brands is like, if they participated in the beta launch of AI Agent, like, can you speak to the experience of setting it up? Like, what is it like to set up AI Agent?
Yes. So when we first launched it, I was super nervous because I use ChatGPT a bit, but I'm not the biggest adopter of it, especially compared to people at Gorgias. And so we had to work with 2 brands to get them set up and deployed. So I get on the first call with them, and I had read through a Notion doc on what it is to set up. But as we were going through the process, I was shocked with how easy it is. So the first part of the configuration, I was thinking it would be something overwhelming. I would need to be a prompt engineer. And so in reality, it's actually just a couple of checkboxes that allow a tremendous amount of personalization. So you can choose how often and how many tickets you want your AI actually looking at. You can just click a drop down of brand voice, and then it obviously pulls from your FAQs and then allows you to create guidance. So these are just things that are so quick and simple out of the box. And when I'm talking to brands on various different calls, one of the biggest pushbacks is like, we don't have the time to invest to set this up. And so when I tell them like, we can set this up with you in 1 day, and we can get you to a 30% automation rate in 30 days, most of them don't even believe it. And then, 10 days in, we're at 20% already, and things are just going really well. So it's really easy to configure.
And then, obviously you are on a lot of calls, you work with a lot of brands, you have worked with a lot of brands in Gorgias. Why do you think brands either choose Gorgias or continue to choose Gorgias like year after year after year?
There's so many reasons why I think brands are moving over to Gorgias, or why they're continuing to work with Gorgias. Number one is just the absolute focus on Shopify. And so if you're building your brand on Shopify, it's really important that you align with somebody who's investing their time equally on Shopify. And so for us, everything we're doing, from AI Agent to those macros I mentioned to Convert, these are all things that are built specifically on top of Shopify that are unlocking so much more value than any of the other help desks. And so I think the closer we are to Shopify and the more we're aligned in our values of helping entrepreneurs grow, the more we'll be able to continue to service these brands on Shopify, whether you're at getting your first couple of sales or you're at 100 million in GMV.